So hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I thought it was about time I started to do another Forest video, and with the season being very close, it starts this weekend, I thought what better time than now. So what I've decided is, I've devised a set of questions that I've sent to a number of Forest fans that I know. And the questions are a number of topics I've seen being discussed on social media over the last 2 or 3 months. So here are the responses to the ones who got back to me in time to make the edit for this video. So the first question that I asked them was, how do you see the opening 6 matches panning out? How many points from the 18 that are available? Bear in mind that 4 of the 6 are away. And not only are they away, they're real tough away matches. Arsenal, Manchester United, Chelsea and Manchester City are all away, with Sheffield United and Burnley at home. How do you think we will get on?
First 6 games, tough. Arsenal, not expecting anything. Sheffield, they're going to have a point to prove back in the Premier League, plus what happened in the playoff semi-final against us. We should be targeting 3 points there. I think we'll probably get a point. Burnley at home, that's the match we've got to win. We need to look at getting 3 points there, so that's 4 points. And I think out the remaining games of the first 6, Chelsea, that's the one we've got to be targeting. They've got a pretty new squad. They've got a new manager in Poch. He's probably still going to be finding his feet. I know they did well in the series in the US, but that's the game we've got to look to get at least a point. So first 6 games, I think somewhere between 5 and 7 points.
I think hopefully we can pick up 7 points. If we get the 2 wins from home, and we hopefully can get a draw with Man United. So I reckon we'll get 7 points.
Take 6 points from the opening 6 games. I think that the 2 home games are more winnable. The away fixtures look tricky.
So I don't feel great about the first few matches at all, the first 6. We've got Arsenal away. That's going to be tough, especially after we beat them at the end of the season last season. They're going to be out for blood. Sheffield United, that should be something we can get some points out of at home. Man United, probably not going to get much out of that. And then we've obviously got the cup game, so we'll skip that for now, even though that should be a winnable as well. Chelsea, if they're playing like they were last season, no reason we can't get something there, at least a point. And then Burnley, again, I think we should be able to get something given that we're playing at home there. And then Man City, where realistically we're just trying not to get battered, I think.
So then the next question after that was, and this is a massive subject on social media, the new stand. Forest are in desperate need of an increased capacity at the City Ground. Do you think the new stand will ever happen? And if not, do you think the club would consider moving away from the City Ground?
I think the new stand's going to get the go-ahead, and I think we're definitely not moving from the City Ground. Too many memories have been made there, and it's just so legendary. We won everything there.
Capacity, always going to be a problem when you're in the Premiership, whatever size stadium you've got. What do I think? I think we probably need another 2 or 3 years under our belt at the City Ground. I think that's the way the owners will look at it before anything happens. Can I see the new stand being built? No time soon. Do I think we'll ever move? Probably not. A few years ago, I thought we'd have moved up to Fareham Green or wherever it is up at Clifton, where the new housing estate and industrial units are going to be. No, I can't see us leaving the City Ground. I think it's too important, but I can't see the new stand being built within the next 3 years at least.
I mean, the new stand should go ahead. It's been, long and drawn out and whatever. But maybe the club are having a rethink with the high demand for tickets, and maybe they're thinking about a new ground.
Okay, yeah, so the club needing a bigger stadium is definitely something that I feel the impact of given that I tend to not know my plans to visit the UK until a month and a half in advance, and I can't get a ticket. I can't get hospitality, I can't get tickets, and it's kind of annoying because I would love to go to games, but there's just nothing available. So I'd love to see the stand built. I mean, I think it will happen, especially if we can stay in the Premier League. But as far as timing, I haven't got any idea.
And the next one has been an even bigger topic of discussion of late. Ticket prices at Forest. Matchday prices and season ticket prices. What is your opinion on the pricing at Forest? Is it about right? Or do you think it could be less? What did you guys think?
Season tickets are still the best value for money. I know we're not taking any new season ticket holders on at the moment. I'm very, very lucky. I've had one since I was 13 years old. So I'm going into my 42nd season. And I'd never give it up. It's too much risk, especially now you're in the Premier League. Matchday tickets, it's expensive. It's really expensive. It's Premier League though, isn't it? It's the brand. You're buying into a brand and you're spending £100 a month on your hobby for going to home games. Yeah, I can understand why people do it. I probably would if I didn't have a season ticket. If I had a gold membership, I would. And away games, if I wasn't a member of the 400 club, which I'm very fortunate to be, then I probably wouldn't try for away tickets because the customer service experience is awful.
Even though the season tickets and normal tickets are going up, it's to be expected because our standard of football is at another level.
So the season tickets issue is one that I know, I've seen a lot of people complaining about. And, for reference, over here in the States, I know this is, nobody cares, but NFL, I went to the opening NFL game. It was the Buccaneers versus the Cowboys, and they were $700 each per ticket for one game. So, when you think about a season ticket for about the equivalent of $550, $600, I'm still thinking that's pretty darn good. That seems like a bargain to me. Seeing that level of football, and of course it being football and not American football, which kind of sucks. I think that's a pretty good deal. So I don't share the pain on that really, or the opinion that that's particularly painful. But for those that have been used to paying less, I can see why they'd be a bit upset. But I think it's a non-issue.
I think with the cost of living crisis, the club could have held off a little bit with price rises, especially with the cost of living crisis. But I suppose that when demand's high, the price high. So.
And whilst I'm at it, anybody who's watching this, obviously feel free to comment below about any of the subjects that we're discussing. There's still several more questions coming up, so keep watching, get stuck into the comments, it's always appreciated. Not so much a topic of discussion that's been on social media, but more, how do you spend your match day? What does a typical match day involve for you? Now, I know not everybody can be at the match. Forest have got a big support and a stadium that's not big enough. There's also people that don't live close to the ground. There's financial implications. There's various factors, but we all support the club equally, no matter what. So I just wondered, how do you spend your match day? What does a typical Nottingham Forest match day involve for you?
Typical match day for me, home game. Get down Trent Bridge about 3 hours before the kick-off, go and meet the lads, go for a drink, have something to eat, go in the ground. Pretty much go straight home after the game. Away days is a full day out. Leave as early as you possibly can. Whether you be driving or going on the train, but leave as early as you possibly can. Meet all your mates and just have a really good day out.
I normally follow the Reds on the radio and I keep up to date on social media during the week.
When I do go, I normally go to the fan zone behind the Brian Clough stand, and at half time I have a hot dog. But when I don't go, I normally watch it on telly with my dad.
So describing a match day for me is kind of interesting because the matches are often like 7 in the morning for me, so it's usually an early start, and then I hop over here to sort of my office / man cave and bang on the TV, and there it is, the game starting. Now there is a New York City Forest fan group, but I've never actually met up with those guys because New York City's about 3.5 hours away. So to get to a 7 o'clock in the morning match means I'd have to stay overnight, and I actually don't like New York City very much. So I'd rather just watch it here by myself. So that's typically what I do.
The transfer window this summer has been a lot quieter than last year, obviously. A lot of people have been moaning now on social media about inactivity, but I've seen it that we've signed 3 or 4 players now. What's your opinion on the number of signings we've made? And do you expect any more to be coming in before the window closes at the end of the month?
Summer transfer window. So, I don't know. It's really hard to say what we need. I'd really like to see us play a bit differently next year. It's tough to watch games where we're playing defensively for most of the 90 minutes, with like 15-20% possession. I don't think that's a recipe that's going to get us out of any, demotion battle. So I think what we've got to do is find a style of play that's a little bit more positive if we really want to stay in this league for a while. And then bring in the players to kind of support that approach. Obviously, we haven't really done much in this window so far. We've got goalkeeping issues. And, Henderson, yeah, but, he's injury prone, and is that what we really want? I don't know. Of course, the striker, we've got Awonyu, and he's brilliant when he's playing. I mean, I think he could be one of the top strikers in the Premier League, but he's got injury, issues of his own. So I think we definitely need to think about what we're doing with strikers and goalkeepers. I think our defence is probably the most experienced in the league after last year, because no one was taking a hammer in like our defence was for most matches. So, they've had a lot of experience now in the Premier League. And so I feel like towards the end of last season, we were doing a lot better. But, the midfield was playing pretty deep, so we didn't really get to see much from them, and they weren't really holding the ball very well, more than a pass or two. So, we've really got to do better on keeping the ball, improving possession, and not inviting the pressure for as much of the games as we are. And whatever it takes to bring in the players to achieve that, I think has got to be the goal.
I think it's good that Forest haven't signed many players, because we're expanding on the talent that we already had. And the players that they have signed, they've only signed a few, but all of them are pure quality.
I think Forest have made some useful additions, but the window hasn't closed yet, so let's wait till the end of the window and see if they can bring any more in.
Transfer window this close season has been very different to last year. How do I feel? Well, at the moment we've managed to hold on to Brennan Johnson and Morgan Gibbs-White. Let's see what happens in the next 2 transfer windows with them. As regarding players that we've signed, glad we've got a keeper in. No disrespect to George Shelby, Horvath or Hennessy, but we needed somebody who's at a different level, and hopefully Matt Turner is. I'd like to get another top quality keeper in. Bit worried that we've not signed a centre half. Bit worried that we've not got somebody who can press Taiwo in case he gets injured, which inevitably he will. In terms of rating it, I'd say it was a 4 out of 10. But I'm not despondent.
And when that transfer window closes, do you still expect Brennan Johnson to be a Nottingham Forest footballer, or will he be off elsewhere?
I hope Forest can keep Brennan Johnson at the end of the transfer window, and if he has a good season this season, then his value's only gonna go up.
I'd like to think Brennan Johnson will still be a Forest player come the end of this window. I think depending what happens after that point, January, we might get an inflated fee for him, but I do think we'll probably lose him in next year's window. next summer, depending on what position we finish in with Forest. Obviously, if we have a really good season, he'll stay. But I think that the lad deserves a good chance to play at a higher level. And whilst we're playing at a good level, we're not at the highest. We're not up to European standard at the moment. So I think he'll stay. I think he'll still be a Forest player at the end of this window, but I wouldn't be surprised if he left in the next 12 months.
I reckon Johnson's staying, unless the big six come knocking at the door. But Johnson's one of our own, he's got to stay, surely.
Brennan Johnson. So, I think, I agree with most people what they've written online that I've seen, which is basically if the number's right, probably, make that deal happen. So it's probably like in the, $40 to $50 million range or higher, or pounds. It's like, yeah. So I think if we can get a number like that, it's probably a good thing to let it happen. I'm a bit skeptical when I see so many stories about a player, potentially transferring. I do feel like some of that's being seeded by the club and by the players' PR agency and stuff, trying to get the word out that the player's available. So I think there's actually, mutual interest between the club and the player about finding a new club. So that's just my kind of PR marketing hat on, with what I'm seeing, how that play out. So I think there's a good chance that it'll be gone before the season starts, but and I think that's okay. But we've got to obviously keep bringing in talent to backfill that because he brought a lot of speed. Maybe not the best final ball, but certainly a lot of speed down the wing, and we're going to miss that if we don't bring in somebody like that, who's hopefully a better finisher.
What is your opinion on the new Nottingham Forest kits for 23-24 season?
I think the new kits are really good. The home kit is a classic Forest shirt, and the away kit and the third kit are just so different. That's what makes them amazing.
I like the new home kit. I'm not so sure about the away kit with the colour and the wavy lines, but there you go.
2023 new kits, you can see I've got the Argentina one on. I've got the away shirt on. Really like it, quality's great. So glad they're back with Adidas. Classic. Just the best manufacturer out there for football kits in my opinion. So yeah, well happy. Can't wait to get the third kit. And yeah, very happy.
So the new kits, yeah, I like it. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Now, one thing I will say is I got a medium last year and it fit perfectly. I got a medium this year and it's a little on the big side. So for anyone getting a shirt, maybe think about a size smaller than you got last year and you'll be just fine. But yeah, it's a real nice kit. Good stuff.
Last season, we finished 16th in the Premier League and reached the semi-final of the League Cup. This season, how do you expect us to do? And do you think there's any potential for a cup run again and potentially winning it and qualifying for Europe?
So for me, the cup games don't matter. I think it's all about the Premier League and staying in the Premier League for me. I get to watch every Premier League game in the US, which if they're in the Championship, I would only get to watch about 5%. So selfishly, I definitely want to stay in the Premier League for that reason. And in terms of whether they will, there's some shite teams in the Premier League this year, but I think, relying on them being shite is a bad strategy. And so I think, we've got to take the game to our opponents a lot better than we did last season, where we kind of sat back and defended a little too deep and, really had dismal possession stats, which kind of put the defence under pressure for the whole game, pretty much for every game, barring a few. So, and obviously we played a lot better towards the end of the season, so that kind of goes back to the players we're bringing in. Do we need to bring in 10, 15 players? Definitely not, because we obviously saw good things from our core team last year. towards the end of the season. So it's really just about how do we supplement that with some players that will just help us be able to deliver those performances more consistently. And then I think we can probably get to 14th, 14th, 15th, something like that this season, and it gives us something to build on. Anything above that would be tremendous, but staying up, number one, and then 14th would be kind of a good result, I think, for the season. So
I reckon Forest are going to be 12th this season, and they're going to have a cup run. They're going to make it to the round of 16 in the Carabao Cup, but they're not going to make it in the FA Cup.
I think Forest will finish 13th, and maybe they can get a cup run, especially if they play any of the bigger sides and they can get home advantage, then I think they're capable of winning at the City Ground. So 13th.
Predictions, I think we'll finish 13th in the league. I think we'll surprise a few people. We've got a bit of stability from last season. Cups, be nice to think we could get a semi-final of a cup again, the Littlewoods, whatever it's called, League Cup, the Carabao. That would be quite good. FA Cup, I've got absolutely no expectations whatsoever. But the Premier League survival, mid-table Premier League, is optimum for me. That's where we've got to finish. That's priority.
So my final question to the guys was, now none of us have got a crystal ball and there's a lot of matches to be played between now and then, but do you expect Steve Cooper to still be Nottingham Forest manager by the end of the season? By May 2024, will Steve Cooper still be in charge of the Reds? Personally, I hope he is, but I just wondered what anybody else thought.
I think Steve Cooper will still be at Forest at the end of the season. I think he'll do enough to keep his job.
I reckon that Cooper's not going. He's pure quality, the club backs him, the fans back him, and even if we do go down, I reckon we should stay with him, see what happens.
Do I think Steve Cooper will be here at the end of the season? Yeah, I do. I think he's so ensconced in the whole heart of the club and what's going on at the moment, and the fans love him. It doesn't matter really what we do on the pitch. He's got our backing, and in Cooper we trust. And yes, he'll still be our manager at the end of this season.
So I think, it really depends on the performances, obviously, but I think it's also style of play. I think if we're, defending for, 88 of the 90 minutes as we have been doing, that's only going to take us so far, and we're probably all going to lose a lot of games like that. So if we can kind of build on what we did towards the end of the last season, versus kind of follow on what we did for the early part of last season and the middle part, where we kind of were just hanging on for dear life from the moment the whistle went, then I think there's a chance Steve Cooper will make it through the season. I think if the football looks as bad as it did last season and we're not getting results and we're in the bottom three for any length of time, I think that's when the plug will be pulled on that and we'll see somebody else come in. Not advocating for that, not against it, not for it. I mean, I think you just got to wait and see how it plays out. But, hopefully, we'll be able to bring, a little bit more positivity to the matches and not defend so deep. And so then, we'll all be happy and we'll see some good results. Come on, you Reds.
So firstly, I'd like to thank the guys for taking the time to send me their video responses to the questions that I asked. So nice one for that. Cheers, lads. Secondly, thank you to the viewers. And as I mentioned at the start of the video, feel free to hit me up in the comments about any of the questions. Definitely get stuck into them. Thirdly, I will be doing a vlog against Sheffield United. So if you've not hit the subscribe button already, please do so, as I'll be trying to upload as many Forest videos as possible throughout the season. I'm not saying I'm going to be doing every match. I am going to Manchester United away. I'll decide if I am doing one for that. But yeah, thanks a lot for watching. And I'll catch you all soon. Cheers.